It's a point we've raised in previous videos that there's a misconception amongst some fans of Lord of the Rings that Sauron doesn't have a physical body in
made
the
much
events of
worse
Lord of the
by
Rings.
Peter Jackson being, let's make him a giant flaming eyeball. Let's use the analogy of the mouth of the Eye of Sauron to say he's actually a giant disembodied eye, which is some bullshit.
I watched a video on YouTube recently. You can probably find it, viewership, if you'd like to see it yourself. It's called The Lord of the Rings from Sauron's Perspective. I have some issues with it, but it does a good job of trying to...
There's that book you told me about, which I've still not read, which does that.
Oh yeah, the Last Ringbearer. So, we'll talk about the Last Ringbearer in a second, but this particular video that I've just mentioned on YouTube, Lord of the Rings from Sauron's Perspective, does a good job of teasing out exactly what Sauron knows and when he learns it. It still doesn't make a great deal of sense why he does some of the things that he does, given that he's supposed to be an omnipotent, master strategist, and clearly he makes some huge tactical errors, even based on what he knew at the time.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is he fucks up because of his own arrogance, which is also a classic villain thing. He fucks up because it doesn't enter his mind that people might try and destroy the ring, because it's not what he would do.
Yeah, it's also never occurred to me before that, Sauron, of course, learns much the same time as the reader does that Saruman plans to betray him. It's never occurred to me before that Sauron knew that, and actually a lot of his actions becomes much more militarily conservative towards the latter parts of the trilogy, because he knows that, hang on, if this all goes sideways, I'm going to have to fight Saruman. And that's not something he really wants to do.
Yeah, he'd probably have it, but it might be a bit closer than he wants to.
Men will protect the cart.
I think it's telling that he has Isengard strike at Helm's Deep before he attacks Minas Tirith. The idea being it's a win-win for Sauron, right? So
if he loses,
if Saruman takes... Yeah, either Saruman's host breaks Helm's Deep with huge losses, or he loses and he eliminates someone that he strongly suspects is going to betray him anyway. So I guess that maybe I'm not giving Sauron enough credit. I mean, he's not a Dark Lord for nothing.
Yeah. It's too quiet.
Oh, it's one of my favourite. Did I talk about right, so this is the issue with the drunk episodes. I can't remember what I talked about. Did I talk about the Spanish translation of Dark Lord? And how...
you may have done,
but
but
it's one of my favourite
anyway.
things. So Spanish is the same as French and German in that they use the same word for Mr. and Lord. It's Señor for both. And as such, the title for Dark Lord is El Señor Oscuro. But that's dark as in literally dark or gloomy, which means that depending on how you look at it, you could translate Señor Oscuro as either the Dark Lord or as Mr. Spooky, basically. And it could conceively be either.
You love the word spooky. You absolutely love the word spooky.
It's a great word. It is one of the best. Because I had this the other, literally today that I was, well, first off, we're still working on the whole, this is a slight off-tangent thing, but I'm still working on the whole Warhammer 40k video. It's in editing at the moment, but I was...
It's really good. We had a really good time.
But yeah, I was making up a Warhammer model earlier, which was a Scorpec Lord, which sounds really cool, but in Spanish he's just called Señor Scorpec, and it just sounds like some Mexican man. It's brilliant.
One enemy replaces another.
He sounds like a wonderful Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
You will never defeat me, Spider-Man. Señor
I mean, there is a Spider-Man villain called Scorpion who only speaks Spanish.
That's not true. The version of him that you are familiar with from Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, is he not
Spanish.
normally Spanish?
No, he's not normally Spanish.
Relish its destruction. Take a long look.
When this guy talks about the blood of his people, he must know that Talion is also a Gondorian, right?
But also Talion is canonically dead, so...
Our success depends on your ability.
He knows that Talion is Talion, though, right? Or is Talion concealing his identity?
I don't think so. Yeah.
To destroy the monument.
Yeah, here's a fun fact. Viewers will see this if they've watched our Lord of the Rings series, like the Return of the King game that me and the boy did. But that game was basically developed... It's unusual, because that game has a load of footage from the film in it, but it was developed to come out the day the films came out. So it was kind of developed while the films were still being shot, and as such, the version of the Witch King that you see in that game is an early model that wasn't used in the final film. That looks a lot more like Sauron, and that was why they made him look a lot more overtly like a Black Rider, just with the helm on, because people kept getting confused about whether, test audiences as to, was this Sauron that's there on the Pelennor Fields with a mace. But he basically looked like, if you're familiar with the comedian turned politician Lord Buckethead, basically looked like him.
Yeah.
With this kind of like tall, thin bucket helmet. But everyone said, yeah, it looks too much like Sauron.
I'm glad that you brought this up, actually, because like my girlfriend actually thought that the Witch King was Sauron. This was Sauron taking the field, because like even his current incarnation looks quite Sauron-y.
I can see why they did.
And she's a smart person. She's not into Lord of the Rings, but like if she was fooled, I imagine lots of people in the audience.
And it would make
were.
sense as a thing as well. Like I suspect that's part of why they use both Tolkien and especially Peter Jackson use the Witch King the way they do, is to have a kind of tangible humanoid villain kicking about that isn't just, you know, generic evil man floating around somewhere in the land of shadow. You want someone you can actually fight and kill on the field of battle, because it makes it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to the channel in some length. I love the Witch King of Angmar. He's one of my favourite villains in fiction. I think his name is cool.
He's voiced by Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Is he really?
There's no man can kill me. It's Andy Serkis.
That's incredible, and I love it. But something I learned about recently is that Tolkien massively toned him down.
I mean, he doesn't do much in the book,
like
the old Black Captain.
No, he doesn't, but in the initial drafts of Fellowship, Tolkien actually calls him explicitly, so like when he's still deciding who the ringmates are going to be and like what their role is going to be in the narrative, etc., etc. He explicitly calls in a draft the Witch King was the greatest like wizard amongst men, like in his.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying about how he there was the whole thing with him attacking Crick Hollow and stuff that was basically cut.
Yeah. But he was much more much more threatening the way that Tolkien first conceived of him, and then thereafter he toned him down a little bit. He said he was just a great king of men rather than a great wizard, which is a shame because it's cooler if he's more threatening.
Making him just more on the books, powerful doesn't necessarily make him more threatening, though.
Perhaps not. But we have a bunch of I've got a bunch of really cool rejected Lord of the Rings story ideas that I've just read about in. Oh, that's not.
I was going to say, otherwise I've just potentially fucked up. But we're fine.
I have a bunch of rejected Lord of the Rings stories ideas that will slowly work our way through. But one of them is that rather than being just like a powerful warrior king, the Witch King would have been a great necromancer and wizard when he was alive.
Made sense because he clearly thought about that with the necromancer and whatnot.
I know that one of the great controversies that I'm not a fan of is in the sequel to this very game, Isildur, the heir of Earendil, is revealed to be one of the Nazgûl. I don't feel great about that for various reasons, not least of all because it directly
I mean, it makes sense. He fell to the power of the ring fairly directly, but
no, Tolkien is always explicit that Isildur dies. Or sorry, I've been pronouncing his name wrong. Various people who more learn. It's Isildur, not Isildur.
This is one of the things that annoys me that Jackson's films get wrong. Is pronunciations are just one of those very, very clear cases where Tolkien spells out exactly how to do it. And when Galadriel's like, "I give you the light of Earendil, our most beloved star," it's Earendil, and he puts two little dots on the A specifically to tell you that the A and the E are both pronounced. Is literally what that means. It's the man is not being ambiguous there. But also, Earendil, I recently learned that Earendil is a real star. I don't know if it was named after Lord of the Rings or the other way around, but it's an actual star in our regular human night sky.
We'll need to look that up.
You'll have to do. I ain't looking up shit. I'm pushing an explosive grog cart.
I'm gonna look up whether Earendil is a real star. Let me just find this.
Oh, we've nearly nailed this. So
there we go. Let me just find out.
Oh, this is gonna be satisfying. Oh, the fact the head fell off was great. I don't know if you're watching or not, if you're tabbed out, but we blew up the statue. It was real cool.
I am tabbed out. The statue didn't come to life?
No, it just blew up as we planned. That whole thing basically went alarmingly to plan.
You have sealed their doom. My people believe they have just claimed their freedom. Is that what you told them?
Oh, yeah, so the star was named after Tolkien's star. That's really cool. I love that, like, during this series, Doctor, you and I learned things even from one another that we
I mean,
didn't
I only
previously
learned
know
that
about
some
Lord
point
of the
within the last 2 months, because it was since the last recording session. I remember seeing that somewhere.
That's incredible.
No, I saw it in like a non-Tolkien context. Someone was just talking about astronomy and this. Oh yeah, this star over here, Earendil. I was like, what? That can't just be called. Like someone's referencing something there.
To these
That's really cool. Another thing that I learned in the gap between our first recording session and second is how absurdly old and absurdly powerful Galadriel is.
Oh yeah, she's like 30,000 years old. I only know that
like,
from Lord of the Rings Top Trumps, where she was one of the best for age, other than Sauron, basically.
Like almost as old as Middle Earth.
Yeah. Well, she's one of the first Noldor, which are one of the elves, yeah.
Which is actually really cool. Like I haven't gone that far yet in the history of Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah.
I'm about to start writing about Lothlorien for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how that goes.
But yeah, it's like how, what's it called? Words. Celebrimbor, who we're with here, he was like around during like the Second Age and like the Forging of the Rings and stuff like that, but he was only, he was Feanor, the guy who forged the Silmarils, was his grandfather. Like, that's the weird thing with elves, is there aren't that many generations of elves, like, full stop. There's like 5 or 6, basically.
Yeah, he even comes up a lot. I think he's name dropped in like lots of drafts of Tolkien's work, like Feorn or I haven't read the similarity alongside
Heart of
Feorn,
Fire.
who forges the Silmarils, and then he's got like 7 sons who
Yeah.
all go to get them back, basically.
Yeah, and the shitiest of those sons is Curufin, who ends up being Celebrimbor's father.
Oh, okay, there we go. So he's descended from a long line of Smiths then, or at least several generations
And a long line of
Smiths.
kind of fiery bellends, basically.
Another thing that I've learned in my research is, like, speaking of elves and how they're all interrelated with one another, like, I didn't realise that Elrond was Galad's, like, emissary, basically, his, like, his banner bearer.
Which is why he gets the one of the 3 that Gil-galad has when he dies.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense in context, I suppose. I didn't realise that. I always kind of wondered why an older elven lord, like, it's kind of strange that Thranduil has been kicking around Middle-earth a lot longer than Elrond has.
Yeah, but he's a bit of a dick as well, yeah. Oh shit.
He is, but, like, he's been doing a pretty good job of, like, holding the whole Mirkwood situation down, but yet he doesn't get a Ring of Power, but Elrond does?
Yeah, that's just because he was, essentially nepotism, you're quite right.
You know, like, Legolas is one of these characters in Lord of the Rings that he just kind of springs into the narrative. So, like, Elrond, oddly, Tolkien doesn't make him one of a long storyline of elves. Like, he's not like Elrond's cousin, or like Galad's grandson, or Galadriel's like third cousin twice.
I guess again it was something else where he
bullshit.
wanted to tie it into the Hobbit a bit as well, with Gimli being son of Gloin. Legolas ties into the elves from the Hobbit.
Well, apparently that was a last-minute decision.
Ah.
So initially, the elf that was due to accompany the Fellowship. So the first time
gonna be
Tolkien
Glorfindel?
realized, no, actually, it was not even Glorfindel. How familiar are you with the character of Erestor?
Not. At all.
Because nobody is, because he's a footnote in Lord of the Rings. Like, even if you go on like
Is that one of
wiki
Elrond's? That's not even one of Elrond's sons.
No, it's not. Like, he's a really minor character, or he ends up being really minor. So even if you go on his the one wiki to rule them all page, like it's like 2 paragraphs, which is pathetic.
That is a footnote. You're right.
But initially, when Tolkien hit upon the idea that he wanted one of each of the races of Middle-earth to go and contest the will of Sauron, and they would join the Fellowship and all be best pals, which is a cool idea, narratively speaking.
Yep.
But initially, rather than Galdor of Mirkwood, who was like it can climb things.
And that was an absurd height that we climbed there.
It's like a giant battle cat. But anyway, like initially, he didn't actually want Galdor of Mirkwood, who was the prototype for Legolas, to go on this quest. It was Erestor, who at that time is like Elrond's chamberlain, basically, the chief of his household.
Yeah.
So like one of Elrond's chief advisors. He is actually in the Fellowship. If you go back and read Fellowship, he's one of the guys at the Council of Elrond who's like, why don't we just give the ring to Tom Bombadil?
Oh yeah.
I think he also, it was his idea in the final draft of Fellowship that they should carry the ring across the sea into the west just to get it away from Sauron.
Yeah.
Because he raises the very good point at the Council of Elrond that it's silly to bring this towards him, right? I mean, like, everyone understands that we can't bring this to him.
Yeah, but then it's... Yeah.
But so like he actually was originally the elf that Tolkien wanted to join the Fellowship.
Yeah.
His actual part in Lord of the Rings is very minor. He speaks at the Council of Elrond, and then he is the one who accompanies Arwen to her wedding to Aragorn. That's basically all he does.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of the guy from Flight of the Conchords, who's like, Lady Arwen, we must not delay. But
that's him.
Oh, that is him. Ah.
That is him.
Yeah. Well, she's not going to a wedding with Aragorn. She's going specifically to the opposite of that.
Yeah, I guess he didn't, like in the movie they changed things a little bit, but that character, he does get the cinematic appearance, and he is that very guy who turns around and goes like, Arwen, come on, let's hustle. There you go. How did we get onto this? Why we started to talk about Eristor? Like, I've digressed so far from my original point.
I don't know. You're the one who's in charge of the stuff. I'm in charge of riding around Gorgoroth on a Caragor, dealing out death, and I'd like to think I was fairly successful there. And we got some sweet music.
If you say so. Let's call it what it is, okay? It's not a Caragor, it's a battle cat.
It's true. Right, what's this? The Black Captain. The Gorthar has fallen and the Black Captains have answered your challenge. Did I want the Black Captains to answer my challenge? Was that good? Well, let's find out.
Let's go fight some Black Captains.
Well, I assume that's, the guy who, like, slit ours and our family's throats in the prologue.
The hand of Sauron? The
Black Hand. Wait, no, the Black Hand's
I don't know.
Your man from fucking Oblivion. That's Lucien Lachance. You
I guess
sleep
we'll find
rather
out
soundly for a murderer. I'm making shit references, sorry, go on.
I guess we'll find out who these guys are. Like,
I think we're about to.
They're one of my favorite kind of races in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, the Black Numenorians, yeah. Oh shit, look at these guys.
Oh, they're badass.
They're like
actually.
a fucking D&D group.
Like, it's when the party goes like full evil. when you're 15 and you think that's cool.
He wants the Gravewalker.
Oh, I'm concerned that that's us. We're the Gravewalker.
It seems likely, doesn't it?
To hunt us down. Let me gather my
I think I recognise
foes beyond any of you.
Tormund the Giant. I know he's not Tormund Giantsbane, but
Yeah.
like our friend's voice. I think that might be Travis Willingham. But let's just. What's his actual character name, Doctor?
Here, go on. I'm looking it up now.
I think it's Travis Willingham.
There is a hidden tunnel to the Black.
Sounds a lot like him.
Aaron. It's time.
It is Travis Willingham. Well done.
Oh! Can I get 10 bonus points, please?
How the fuck? What do you know him from?
So, like, I know him because he's a cast member of Critical Role, but he's in a whole bunch of things. He's one of these, like, prolific voice actors. But
Yeah, I saw he's married to another prolific voice actor.
Ashley,
Laura
Johnson,
Bailey.
Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
Like, they're a really ridiculously attractive couple, actually. Like, they're one of these voice actors. You see them and you're like, why are you not just in movies and stuff? But
Yeah, some people are, you've got the face for voice acting, but then some people haven't.
yeah. If you Google these people viewership, so like Laura Bailey and Travis.
Oh shit! Is this guy going to assassinate Ratbag? Also, he's got a mace made of dead people. That's kind of cool.
That's the base of Molag Ball, right?
It does look
man.
like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
He's gonna go fill up a soul stone. Like,
What's still alive?
And this guy's apparently voiced by Brian Blessed.
that's incredible. Is he actually?
No, it just sounded like him. When he said "still alive," it sounded like Gordon's alive.
I think he just cut down Ratbag.
I think he just hit him. I hope. Oh shit! It's us. We're here.
I feel this is absolutely not how we would have ideally chosen to confront this man.
No, we would have just shivved him from the shadows, because I've learned now.
So this is not the Black Hand, is it? This is.
When we bled your wife.
Well, he's claiming to have bled our wife and gutted our son, so maybe. Though he's saying we, I think they're a group.
Kill him.
Oh, okay. So the Black Hand is like a
Cult or some
members of-
shit, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So this is a Black Numenorian.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
not
shit.
like he's not our main man here. He's
Yeah. Ow. Shit.
it's another build your combo
Yeah.
to massacre.
That's fine, I can do that.
This is like, the combat in a good way. I will add, like, reminds me very much of like the Batman Arkham series.
Yeah.
And viewership, the Doctor and I are divided in which game we're going to play next. I very much want to play the Batman Arkham series on the channel. So if you want to see that, post up in the comments. And the more comments we get telling us to do it, the more likely it is to happen. I want it to happen. You
Don't
can
get me
make
wrong,
it
I
so.
want it to happen, just... This might be my fill of, semi-stealth action-adventure game from a major franchise for now, and I was thinking just maybe do something else first. How about that?
Well, yeah, but you'll probably do another game before we do more recording.
I mean, yeah, I'm doing another game at the moment.
Maybe you should
One
flee,
of the main reasons that the Warhammer 40k thing is taking so long to edit is because I'm doing that alongside doing the biggest single series I've ever done.
This is the Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, which is estimated to take somewhere between 120 and 130 episodes.
Good lord.
So it's a thick boy, in other words. Oh shit.
Oh, I think
Also, this guy's called the Hammer, which is absurd.
the Hammer of Sauron.
Not even the Hammer of Sauron, just the Hammer.
Maybe we should flee here, Doctor. I think
We can't. This is a combat like but I'm gonna heal up a bit by juicing some guys. So yes, I'm aware that I said juicing, like they're lemons. I'm okay with that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I just need to keep remembering to use combat drain to actually do it. Oh shit. Gravewalker is quite a cool name. I'm pleased we've earned that.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Oh, not some random prick killing me. At least let the hammer kill me. Oh no!
Oh, it's a random prick! Oh!
Oh, he's gonna turn in. Actually, I think he shouldn't because this is a mission, so that's fine.
We can just retry.
Yeah, I don't think.
Gravewalker
exactly.
kind of sounds like. Did you ever see Blade?
Actually, no.
Blade's a lot. I can't necessarily say it's a.
Is that the vampire thing with Wesley Snipes?
With Wesley Snipes, yeah. I can't necessarily say it's a great movie. I really like it, but it's very fun.
Yeah.
They call Blade, who's like a half vampire, so like he's a half human, half vampire, as the name would suggest.
Ow, piss off.
But his whole thing is he's the day walker, that's what they call him, because he's a vampire who can walk in the sunlight.
That sounds fucking dumb, I'll be honest with you.
What, is it any dumber than the Hammer here? Or the Grave Walker?
Well, you know what they say, you can't touch this.
Very good. How long? Go on, tell me, how long you wait to say that? That's
only about a minute. Basically, since I noticed that it said the hammer in the top right, I've been waiting for a moment. Oh, whoops. Well, you can die anyway. I meant to execute the hammer, but
that's okay.
That random Uruk, I guess, will take it.
Does Talion still have his weird knockoff Earendil, like the hilt of the sword, but not the whole sword?
Yeah, you should mean Achan the Black Dagger. Yes, he does.
Ah, right, okay.
Yes, they all have a thing. Everything has a thing in Lord of the Rings. Oh.
Now, on the subject of Tolkien, we've talked about the Tolkien in his naming conventions. Did you know that, like, Earendil, the Flame of the West, when it was reforged in his first draft, or like, well, the 6th draft of the Council of Elrond, but the first time he mentions Earendil being reforged, it's not called Earendil. He calls it initially, and this is the dumbest name for a sword that anyone's ever come up with. It's called branding.
Huh.
Which is, you can see why he changed it, right? I don't like that.
Yeah. Stop doing that. It's annoying.
You can sort of see the through line though, because the Flame of the West, like a flame can be used to brand something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just calling the sword branding is not great.
Suck you dry. There we go.
Here's a little fun like caption contest for you, viewership. So like in the comments, tell us if you to name a sword, like an enchanted blade of great renown in history, what would you call it? Tell us in the comments. If you to name a magic sword, what would it be called? And you know what? If we ever continue infamous D&D, maybe I'll make a magic object with that name if it's good enough.
That's pretty good.
There you go. Keeping our community engaged, Doctor, because we love
Look
you
at
guys.
that. What a professional. Let's kill this man. Oh, wrong one. No. Why would you not assassinate the hammer? Come on. There we go.
Does your vengeance taste, Talion? Is not the darkness sweet?
Oh, please tell me we're not so different, you and I. Oh shit, no, I went for a drink. No, I think we're fine. We're fine.
Kill him! Calm down!
I had to use an entire hand to pick up my incredibly heavy glass because, so viewer, last time I was drinking from the Emperor, which is a large vessel, we got fucking one-upped by a delightful viewer who sent me a photo of a significantly larger drinking vessel. And frankly, if we're having a cock measuring contest, so be it. So put up a photo now, sprites. I am drinking from this thing that came from a meeting of the Leicester Bavarian Society and is a 2-pint mug. Well, kind of, not even mug, a stein.
You know what you've got to call this though, don't you?
The God Emperor.
No. I was thinking either like the Archduke or the Kaiser, but...
That Kaiser works, I think. The fact is, I need to keep the good names in check, because I have 2 glasses which are even larger than this in equally ridiculous steps, but I'm escalating slowly at first.
Good. I look forward to seeing the latter installments.
You should have stayed where you were.
Yeah, we go from this to the half yard and then finally Das Boot at the top.
Oh, I can't wait.
You must have seen Das Boot before.
I have.
So I've known you 6-7 years. And I think
do
it must
we-
have come up.
Do we know who this lady is, Doctor?
No! I don't think so.
She wishes to make him an offering.
I don't recognise her, certainly. And this, at least the nice thing is, I know we didn't make any plot progress while we were pissed, so I think I remember most of it. But she's trying to make an offering to Celebrimbor.
Well,
Or no, or her boss is.
Yeah, her mum is, like,
Oh, her mum, oh.
who's Queen somebody or other.
The return to Nurnen is long and treacherous.
Where the hell is Nerman? I don't know where Nerman is.
It's somewhere else in it's the sea in Mordor.
Oh, okay, the Sea of... Okay, the Sea
Well,
of...
Nurn is that area, so Nurnen is probably something related to that, because Tolkien's good with names like that.
Good no.